Hey everyone, this is Steve from GamersNexus.net, and today we're reviewing NZXT's Phantom 530 case. This case uses a very similar chassis to the Phantom 630 and H630, both by NZXT, so most of the changes between this and the previous reviews of those cases will be relegated to stock cooling and cable management space. As always, we'll start with a case walkthrough before going into any of my opinions and benchmark data, so let's jump to that. The Phantom 530 is a mid-tower, mid-range gaming case priced at around $130. The case ships in black, white, and red variants, and as you can see, our review unit was a glossy red. On the outside, we've got the standard NZXT Phantom aesthetic with front, top, and side grills for fans and airflow, of course. And the side panel features a large-ish window that'll expose the CPU and video card, but hides the drive scaffolding pretty well so you don't get that ugliness in your view. Front I/O includes standard 2 audio ports and 2 USB 3 ports. The top of the case features a 3-speed fan controller that phases power in high, medium, and low settings. I tested all 3 of these settings in the benchmark, and I'll have that data for you in a moment. Dust filters are also present in the front intake and PSU intake sections. And internally, we've got 2 stock fans, a 200mm intake and 140mm rear exhaust fan, with room for additional 200mm top-mounted fans, a side-mounted fan, and internal directional fan that mounts to the drive scaffolding. So if you want to point it at the video card, you can do that. Radiators up to 360mm in length can be fitted to the compartmentalized radiator slot in the top of the case, but you won't have room for a push-pull configuration without mounting the radiator below the top compartment, so do keep that in mind if you want 2 fans on your rad. And everything else is pretty standard. Decent cable management pass-throughs with appropriate cable anchors on the rear side, lots of cable routing space behind the motherboard tray, and toolless drive bays make installation pretty quick, so very standard features for NZXT at this point. We really have come to expect those from them. As for opinions, quite honestly, it's really it's nothing disappointing or spectacular. It's just right in the middle of what we expect from NZXT, what we expect for $130. The frame and specs are so similar to other current-gen Phantom boxes that I really, as a reviewer, I wasn't blown away because I look at these all the time, right? But don't let that take away from the value of the case. It's really got quite solid build quality, honestly, on the whole, and especially at the price. And it has good cableless panel design that makes disassembly very easy if you want to take it apart. The plastic does kind of look cheap in the glossy red finish. I will definitely complain about that, but that's my only real complaint for the entire product. In actuality, the plastics and metals are actually pretty standard for mid-range cases and will withstand many build cycles, so the quality is pretty good, especially at $130. It's not like it's going to fall apart on you. The airflow is good, and it'll do everything you need it to do, and that's exactly what I say in the review. The case does everything it intends to do. No more, no less. Experienced builders will be able to get a great system together in a couple of minutes, and Cable will manage it all within 45 minutes. The case facilitates cleanliness, so anyone who gets excited about cable routing will be happy to work with this one. A rear side fan hub does make managing additional fans a bit easier, especially when connecting them to the front fan speed controller. Definitely a nice feature if you're loading the system with lots of fans and want to control the noise. So let's quickly hit the benchmarks before concluding. You can read about our testing methodology on the full review linked in the description below, along with all of our other, all my other thoughts and opinions about the case. This is the CPU benchmark. The Phantom 530 performs dead center of the pack, with the high fan setting placing it within margin of error of both the 820 and 630 on high settings. This isn't too surprising looking at the similarities between the actual underlying chassis underneath all of the paneling. I think the H630 and Phantom 630 have an identical chassis. The Phantom 630 and Phantom 530 have very similar ones, and the H20 is a bit taller and skinnier. This isn't too surprising. So I wouldn't let the CPU temperatures on this case dictate my purchase. It's really not a limiting factor given the average performance. Average isn't bad, it's not good. Just, look at your other options a bit more extensively. It's definitely not an RV02, but it's not bad. So here's what we've got for GPUs. Once again, the tests indicate pretty center pack performance with nothing to complain or rave about. Larger video cards will likely feature larger deltas between the cases, and I do think the Phantom 530 will probably perform better with a large video card, especially if you're utilizing that additional side or scaffold intake. Overall, from the build quality and ease of installation perspectives, I'm happy with the case. It's a great option for new and experienced builders. It won't really leave you wanting a whole lot, and the closest competitors I would consider in the price range would probably be the Thor version 2, Corsair C70, and Corsair 500R. Those are the closest ones I would consider along with this one. I've linked all these in the description below if you're curious. At the end of the day, your selection will really hinge on what sort of style and theme you're going for with the build. You're going to be looking at this for years, so what do you want to look at? Because all of these cases I've just listed and the Phantom 530 are very solid performers. I personally don't really like the plasticky red look, but, you know, white and black are also options, so those seem fine. That's all for this time. The full review is linked in the description below, and I will see you all next time. Peace.